Good morning, afternoon, evening, fellow innovators, dreamers, and doers. Look around you. How many of you or someone you know have felt that exhilarating, terrifying rush of a business taking off? That moment when your dream, your passion, suddenly has a life of its own, growing faster than you ever imagined. It's a beautiful problem to have, isn't it? The kind of problem every entrepreneur prays for. But let's be honest, it's also a monster. A beautiful, hungry, insatiable monster that demands more of your time, more of your energy, more of your very soul. And if you're not careful, it can turn you, the visionary, into a firefighter, constantly reacting to the next blaze, the next crisis, the next urgent email. I've been there, we've all been there. The business explodes and suddenly you're not building a company, you're just trying to keep the wheels from falling off. You're reacting, you're putting out fires. You're drowning in a sea of urgent tasks and the vision that once fueled you gets lost in the daily grind. Stress becomes your constant companion and burnout a looming shadow. This isn't just a feeling, it's a physiological state. When we're under chronic stress, our bodies are flooded with cortisol, the primary stress hormone, which can impair cognitive function, suppress the immune system, and even alter brain structure over time. But what if I told you there's a way to tame that growth monster? A way to ride the wave of success without being swept under? It's about making a fundamental shift, a proactive pivot from reacting to acting, a shift deeply rooted in how our brains are wired. When a business grows rapidly, the default mode for many entrepreneurs is reaction. A new client signs and you scramble to onboard them. A product goes viral and you panic about inventory and shipping. Your team is overwhelmed and you jump in to do everyone's job. This reactive cycle is exhausting and it's driven by our primal brain. When faced with perceived threats or overwhelming demands, our amygdala, the brain's alarm center, can hijack the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for planning, decision-making, and impulse control. This leads to a fight or flight response, where we prioritize immediate action over thoughtful strategy. You're not consciously choosing to be reactive. Your brain is literally bypassing higher level thinking to deal with the perceived emergency. It's like trying to steer a speedboat by constantly adjusting the rudder after you've hit a wave. You're always behind, always playing catch up. And the cost isn't just your sanity, it's the quality of your work, the morale of your team, and ultimately the sustainability of your business. So how do we make this proactive pivot? It starts with 3 key strategies that empower you to anticipate and prepare rather than merely respond, allowing your prefrontal cortex to lead. First, we must learn to build the bridge before we need it. Engineering cognitive ease. Imagine you're building a city and suddenly a river appears. If you wait until everyone is stranded to build a bridge, you're reacting. A proactive entrepreneur anticipates the river. They see the growth coming and start laying the groundwork for infrastructure before the demand overwhelms them. From a cognitive science perspective, this means focusing on creating robust systems, not just temporary solutions. By documenting processes and automating repetitive tasks, you significantly reduce cognitive load. Your brain isn't constantly expending energy on novel problem solving for routine issues. Instead, it can operate on well-worn neural pathways, freeing up mental resources for higher-level strategic thinking. It also involves hiring for tomorrow, not just today, by recruiting ahead of the curve when growth is on the horizon, rather than waiting until your existing team is collapsing. Furthermore, proactively investing in scalable tools like software and project management platforms serves as your essential infrastructure, acting as bridges against future chaos by providing predictable structures that reduce uncertainty and the associated stress response. Second, we need to master the art of strategic delegation and letting go, leveraging collective intelligence. This is often the hardest part for entrepreneurs. Your business is your baby, you nurtured it, you know every detail. But as it grows, you cannot and should not do everything. Proactive delegation isn't just offloading tasks. It's about empowering your team and leveraging the power of distributed cognition. When you delegate effectively, you tap into diverse perspectives and skill sets, allowing for more robust problem solving than any single individual could achieve. This involves defining roles clearly as your team expands, ensuring everyone understands their responsibilities and, crucially, their authority. You must learn to trust your team, providing initial guidance and setting clear expectations, then stepping back to allow them the autonomy to make decisions. This trust fosters a sense of psychological safety, which research shows is critical for high-performing teams. Ultimately, this frees you to focus on your unique zone of genius. Strategy, vision, and high-level partnerships, delegating everything else because your time is your most valuable asset and should be spent where it has the greatest impact, allowing your prefrontal cortex to engage in its most valuable work. Finally, we must schedule our sanity, making CEO time non-negotiable to restore executive function. When you're reactive, your calendar is a battlefield. When you're proactive, it's a strategic map. You need to carve out dedicated time for strategic thinking, planning, and yes, even self-care. Our prefrontal cortex, the seat of executive function, is highly susceptible to fatigue. Constant demands and lack of rest diminish its capacity for complex thought and decision-making. This means blocking out CEO time specifically for working on the business, analyzing data, brainstorming new ideas, and reviewing your vision, treating this time as sacred and non-negotiable. Prioritizing self-care, whether through exercise, meditation, or time with loved ones, is not a luxury but a necessity. These activities are scientifically proven to reduce cortisol levels, enhance neuroplasticity, and restore cognitive resources, making them critical components of proactive business management. Implement regular structured check-ins with your team to address issues and plan, which helps prevent constant interruptions from urgent requests and fosters a more organized workflow, allowing for focused work periods and predictable breaks that support optimal brain function. Ultimately, the proactive pivot is a fundamental mindset shift. It's about moving from a scarcity mentality, the feeling that there's not enough time or resources, to an abundance mentality where you focus on building robust systems and empowering people to effectively handle growth. This shift isn't just philosophical, it's neurological. Consistent proactive habits can literally rewire your brain through neuroplasticity, strengthening the neural pathways associated with planning, foresight, and calm decision-making, while weakening those tied to reactive stress responses. It's about recognizing that growth, while exhilarating, is also a profound test of your leadership, your foresight, and your ability to adapt. By building bridges, delegating strategically, and scheduling your sanity, you don't just survive rapid growth, you thrive in it. You transform from a reactive firefighter into a visionary architect, building a sustainable, successful enterprise and truly enjoying the journey along the way. So the next time that beautiful growth monster rears its head, don't just react. Take a breath, make the proactive pivot. Understand your brain, work with it, and remember you built this. Now build it to last.